Alright. What's up, everybody? What's going on? And have you guys seen Rogue play StarCraft lately? Rogue keeps massing overseers. People keep asking me, Pig, is this good? Have you seen Rogue's new strategy? Is this game-breaking? The short answer is no, I don't think so. Is it annoying? Oh yeah. Is it frustrating to see a guy make 30 overseers, 30, sometimes 40, and spam changelings at you? Heck yes. Is this a really decent tempo move? Yes. Does this fall off really bad because you're wasting thousands of resources once it gets to endgame? Absolutely, but it could kill people in the early game. So let's break it down a little bit. Basically, what we're seeing is a lot of Terrans do like to stalemate, drag the game out, turtle up for about 5 to 10 minutes while they mass command centers and upgrades, and only very slowly push in the endgame. And a lot of the way to counter this is usually the Nidus Worm in the back, but getting vision for your Nidus Worms is hard. So Rogue's answer to this is basically, like, just to give you guys some info. People used to fly overseers in the edge, but people keep building missile turrets on the edges, sensor towers, they put Vikings out there, so you just can't get vision consistently with that anymore. So his answer is, I'm just going to make a billion changelings and click them in. You might think, well, is it really that hard? What a Terran needs to do to counter this is they need to, as they see these changelings, click on either every individual one or use the tanks to get the splash damage on them. You'll see Protoss players Psystorm to make this easier, but essentially what this does is it allows him just every now and then to drop changelings, control click on the minimap. That's all he's doing, guys. So he control clicks the overseers, holds down the changeling key, and then he control clicks the changelings and clicks on the minimap. And he just keeps doing this over and over and over again. And it's an APM tax. And I want to really point out that this sort of strategy is probably overpowered against most players. And it is terrible against the very best of the best. And that's why it's both good and bad. So let me explain. First things first. Why is it good against low-level players? I didn't say low-level, first of all. Keep in mind, it is good versus everyone that's not the very, very best. So it's decent versus a guy like Bjorn, who's like the 3rd or 4th best Terran in the world. I think it's going to be pretty useless against a guy like Clem, especially once he's played against it once or twice. And I think against me, if I was playing Terran against this, I would lose my mind. I do not have enough APM to click on all those changelings. And I'd be like, screw you, stop doing this. I would just rage. I wouldn't be able to, I'd just be like, oh my God. Like, I would actually wall my base off and not let the changelings in. I would like move my production outside my wall off and leave the wall off up. Or I would periodically lower the wall in to like let them through. It is so hard to deal with mechanically. The problem is the cost. So whilst this is a creative way of getting changelings in, it costs you a ton of money. We've seen many games, Rogue builds 40 plus overseers. Now, the Overlord itself, that 100 minerals is always useful, right? You're going to be building a lot of Overlords anyway. Do you really need 44 Overlords? Well, let's quickly get our calculator out and do some mathy math, shall we? All right, let's do some quick math here, guys. We're going to tab out for a moment and just go. So 44 overlords. He had 9 overlords as well. Let's just say 44 times 8. They give 8 supply. So that's 352 supply. Each hatchery gives you 6 supply. Let's say you have 8 hatcheries as well. 8 times 6 is 48, which means he's giving himself 400 total supply plus the 9 extra overlords he had in this game. 9 times 8 is 72. That means in this specific game, 472 potential supply. So actually, we should be counting the cost of the overlords here. So you've got 50 minerals and 50 gas to upgrade an overlord to an overseer, and you've also got the 100 minerals for the overlord. So let's say we count about 20 of these overlords as extra overlords. That's 2,000 minerals. And then the cost of upgrading 40, let's say 40 overseers. Let's say the other 4 are just normal overseers you make for scouting. That's a flat 2,000 minerals, 2,000 gas. So that means it's 4,000 minerals, 6,000 gas, right? Did I say that correctly? Sorry, 6,000 minerals and 4,000 gas. 10,000 resources total. So you're dumping 10,000 resources in a game where very rarely do people lose more than 100,000 resources in a game. 80,000 is the upper end, occasionally 90,000. So you're already, if this game is stalemating and going to the last map, bases mining out, this is a huge problem. 10,000 resources. Now, what's the other problem, guys? Nidus Worms. This game, he's just started using the Niduses, 11. We just cast a game, you guys can see that over my Pigcast channel, a game where he used almost 50 Niduses in that game. At 150 resources, 75 minerals, and 75 gas per nidus worm. Once again, I'll bring up my calculator here. I know it's not on screen. Sorry. Here we go. We've got a calculator here. 150 times, let's say 40 niduses. It's another 6,000 resources, 3,000 minerals, 3,000 gas. So we've got 6,000 plus 10,000, guys. That's 16,000 resources that is going to try and get these nidus worms up. Now, this is not completely wasted cost, but we just have to realize you are spending an immense amount of money to use this strategy. Money that does not make your army any stronger. So this is a huge investment that needs to find a way to pay for itself. How can it pay for itself? By overwhelming your opponent mechanically so they can't micro as well. Maybe you can pick off units with Vipers on the front while they're busy clicking on changelings, right? Maybe you can get nidus worms up in the back and then get huge value out of that. But I would say this is almost always a tempo play, in that if you don't find big damage with this, and the game goes to a long, drawn-out stalemate where you mine out the whole map, you are going to be so far behind in resources. So that's a really huge issue. I think of this as almost like I want to win in early late game. I want to bust through. I'm going to just keep swarming niduses in the back. We've seen him go double nidus in this game. Other games, he goes triple nidus. Sometimes he builds the nidus in the middle of the map, so he can like unload in the back, but then if he wants to run away, he can unload back in the middle, run forward, and snipe this base, right? So, which is cool. Like, I love that he's doing this. But keep in mind, this is not a play that's going to serve you well if you're not finding value. If the Terran players do get good enough at like clicking these down, walling off, that sort of thing, they will be able to deal with this tactic and be way more efficient in the long run. But it does force them into a very defensive stance. So let's make one more argument now for why this is a good tactic, right? I'm on the fence. I think I'm mostly a little bit negative about this strategy at the top level, while it still has some merits. And one of its big merits is you can mine their bases. Because your opponent's so busy clicking on the changelings, you can run your drones forward and mine these bases. Now, this is something I was critical of Rogue for not doing very early in the other series I was casting. I think he could have mined a lot more of the forward bases. This one, he's very quick to mine this base over here, which is great, but he also should be grabbing drones off these other bases in the back that are safe and moving them down there. So he could have done a little bit better in this game, but this is a way you could get value, is you could say, well, I'm going to lose 16,000 resources in that investment that might not really pay for itself, but if otherwise I struggle to take the middle bases against late game Terran, but this allows me to put so much pressure because of the APM disparity of me just going, drop changelings, spam them out, control click on minimap, and the Terran's like, got to spend way more APM. It creates an APM uneven matchup. He's so busy with that, and now I get to mine these bases out. And if you get to mine, often there's two middle bases, kind of contested bases on each map. In this case, guys, these are the middle bases. This one here and this one here. He's also trying to mine one of the bases that is clearly on Gumiho's side of the map, right? So let's do a quick bit of math. How much minerals is on a base? Once again, let's go. You've got 4 mineral patches with 1,800 minerals. And then you've also got 4 with 900 minerals. I'll show you guys in game. See? Oh, sorry, I'm kind of blocking it, aren't I? 800, 900, like that. So it's plus 50% again, which is plus another 3,600. Plus 3,600. Cool, so that's 11,000 minerals on a base. That's not even including the gas. If we include the gas as well, 4,500, 2,250 per, something like that. So if you just get one extra base fully mined, as a result of this, it pays for those 40 nidus worms, or was it, how many nidus worms? I think I calculated like, whatever, 40 nidus worms and 40 overseers. This is going to allow you to pay for that. Now, I think I would argue that a lot of the time when a Terran's turtling up, you can mine these bases out for free, and that's why I don't think this argument actually holds up. And the reason is, if your opponent's super turtling and you've got map dominance, like, we could have spent all that money on just Lingbane Hydra Viper in this game, and we could actually be like blowing this base up. Like, what's Gumiho even got to defend this game? His third is completely wide open. He has a small squad of bio and libs down here. Like, I get we played roaches this game, but we're into melee upgrades. We're into Ling Speed and Adrenal Glands. We have Viper, Baneling, Hydra. Why aren't we just blowing this base up continually with Lingbane Hydra? Is it inefficient? Yeah, it's not as inefficient as making 40 Overseers, and 400 nidus worms. You can still try to throw nidus worms up in the back at the same time, drip feed changelings and off 5 or 6 overseers. Speed overseers could get down this bottom flank, right? There's these sort of moves. So I really feel like basically there's just a more efficient way to do it. And while you're doing that, you can just send 20 drones here, send 20 drones here, and probably get even more mining because it's an even higher amount of pressure. Pig, you're not accounting for Riz. That's actually... This is the argument right here. This is the argument. You're not accounting for Riz. That's the best argument there is for this strategy. It's frigging funny and it's cool. So guys, when it comes to cool, funny, creative, I give this a 10 out of 10. Don't get me wrong. I've got to be honest with you about whether I think it's the most effective way to win the game. I don't think it is. I do get the feeling quite a bit lately that Rogue is kind of just having fun when he's playing StarCraft and doing creative things. I think he's painting, you know? He's cooking a little bit. He likes to express himself through the game. I don't think he's necessarily saying this is the absolute best way to play, but it is a way to frustrate his opponents. It's really annoying as the Terran to constantly have to just click on those changelings over and over, and it kind of forces you into this cycle of just sitting at your base, clicking on changelings. It's frustrating. It's annoying to play against, and so we do have to give credit where it's due in that regard. That it's really, really difficult. Now, Gumiho is not even a great late game player, let's be honest. I think Rogue, like I said, could play pretty standard, but look at this. Look at this from Gumiho's perspective. There's like 50 changelings in his base. Have fun shift clicking on every single one of those, right? Like, what are you gonna do, man? What are you gonna, like, if you're already on the back, this is like a way I think you get a psychological advantage in a series, because it's frustrating. I think this is the way you break Beyond's wrists, or any player who has maybe Maru's, you know how Maru has shoulder issues? You hurt his shoulder a little bit by making him click too much. You tilt Gumiho, and you make Beyond's wrists hurt as well. This is like a psychological tactic. I don't know if this is even a good tactic when it comes to just on paper. Is it worth it? I'm going to say no. But it has flair, it's fun, and if it makes Gumiho nuke his own base, then that's kind of cool. So you guys let me know in the comments if you think this is good or not, or if there's any arguments that I missed, and we may do a follow-up video. But for now, we're giving it a 10 out of 10 style points, and we're giving it probably a 7 out of 10 when it comes to an actual effective way of finishing the late game.